Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this Dell XPS 159510. Alright, so this was dropped on the ground and the screen is no longer working. I don't really see any cracks in it, but we'll see. I'll have to take a closer look. Alright, give me a second. Okay, sorry, I'm getting some messages right now. Alright, anyways, we're going to be using a T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver to remove all the screws from the bottom. Okay, the customer told me that someone actually opened this already to upgrade it. I like to work on the computers with the hinge facing away from me. But anyways, let's go ahead and remove all the T5 screws. So you want to put them flat side down like that on your desk in the pattern that you remove them, so that you can keep track, because sometimes the screws are different size, shape, and lengths, and you don't want to get them mixed up because you can actually damage your computer that way. Okay, again, someone worked on this before, so I don't know if any of it's going to be different from what you see on yours. So if anything looks different, just keep in mind someone else opened this before me and they might have put things back wrong. Alright, if this video helps you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Alright, so anyways, let's continue getting all these screws out. There we go. Okay, and then let's see about popping this cover off. Sometimes you can do this with suction cups, but usually what I do is I'll open up the laptop slightly. Okay, let me show you where it was dropped so we can see. I don't see any signs of damage on the screen itself, so it's hard to say, but I do, except for here, I see the damage on the bottom there. So I don't know. We'll see what's going on. Alright, anyways, the way I usually open these, let's see if it will work for this model. Usually on this Dell model, I'll go from here, I'll get my fingernails in the little gap here between the palm rest and the base, and then I'll pull with my fingernails and push with my thumb. This one looks like the gap might be too thin for that, but let's see. Okay, if we can't, I'm going to end up using a thin metal pry tool, because yeah, that seems like it's not going to work. The other thing we can do, if we're lucky, we can try pulling from one of these corners first. And nope, that doesn't seem to work. Actually, maybe a little bit. But that seems like since it's difficult to remove, it's probably not going to be a good way to get this out. Let's try with a suction cup. And no. Okay, so this model looks like it's a pain. I'm going to use this really thin metal pry tool. If you're going to use a tool, make sure it's like flexible. Don't use like razor blades and stuff. Those aren't flexible. They're very brittle, and then it'll shatter and like you'll end up with broken metal all over. So don't do that. All right, anyways, we're going to rotate this, and basically we're going to get in here. You can try with the plastic pry tools as well, but usually I'll end up using these and it works a lot better. Okay, so we'll get under here, and you can see we can kind of pop a gap in there. Usually if you can get a gap, once you can start a gap, you can try and use the method I said before with your fingernails. Push with your thumb on the back here and pull with your fingernails, and you can see it pops out. Okay, so the main thing is just getting into that gap. Oh, it looks like they actually left the computer on, so it's flashing there. Okay, and here you can see now we got this open, and we're just going to work our way all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to close this now, and we're just going to work our way around, and there we go. Once you get all the way around, this cover pops off pretty easily. Okay, so again, the initial like popping open is the hard part, so you need something really thin just to get in there. Technically, you could probably get away with using a razor blade if you're just using it to get enough to get your fingernails in there. Alright, but yeah, other than that, that's it. Let's go ahead and remove the battery real quick here. It looks like that's a JIS 0, but let me try a JIS 1 first. Yeah, okay, we're going to need a JIS 0 for this. And we're going to remove all the screws holding the battery in place. Actually, let me get a thumbnail real quick here. So I'm going to center this, and this will be the thumbnail. There's an M.2 PCIe NVMe here, another slot for another one, 2 sticks of RAM, CPU, GPU are soldered to the motherboard here. I believe this is the CPU and this is the GPU. They both have separate fans. Fan connectors are here and here. Okay. You got the battery connector here. We're going to take the battery out, and yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, then I'll go ahead and start pointing out more components. Again, keep all the screws in order because they are different size, shape, and lengths, and mixing them up can cause bad damage to your computer. So you want to make sure not to mix them up. Okay. Again, someone else worked on this computer before, so I don't know if they moved anything around. Hopefully not. All right, you got those 4 at the top. Then we got 4 screws down here. It looks like these are JAS1, and as I can see from here, the previous person that worked on it, they stripped this screw out. Most likely they kept trying to use the JAS0 screwdriver the entire time and ended up damaging that screw. Hopefully I'm not going to have an issue taking that out. All right, again, it's very important that you keep track of what types of screws go where. Okay, luckily I'm able to get this out because this screw is pretty badly stripped. If you look at this, I don't know if it will even, there you go. You can see it's pretty bad. And if you compare that to one that's not stripped, they stripped this one a little bit as well, but you can see the difference there, okay? That's why it's important to not just use whatever screwdriver people say and to actually find what fits best, okay? Because sometimes also if they mix up the screws, then you're gonna have another problem. So anyways, these screws are shorter and they're all silver. All right, and they all use the JAS1. The other ones at the top use JAS0. Okay, so we got this out. This design's kind of stupid. They so the speaker connects here, it looks like, underneath this. I don't want to peel that out, but there's some tape on top, and then it has like the same, like this kind of connector most likely that you kind of pull out. There's a wireless card here. It's soldered to the motherboard, so you can't replace the wireless card, but you can remove the antennas by lifting up the tails. I'm not going to mess around with that. It looks like this bottom cover has a little contact pad here that I didn't notice earlier, and that's for the headphone jack. So the headphone jack connects via those 6 pins. Okay. All right, the LCD screen connector is actually connected right here, and I don't think I'm going to be able to fix this one. It looks like this connector is kind of embedded part of the screen. It's not one where I'm able to remove it, but I'll take this stuff out and just see if I notice anything. Yeah, because I checked for one of these screen assemblies. They're not cheap. It's like $500-600 or something. Of course, the prices can change, so I don't know. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and lift this speaker out here a little bit because they taped it all along the battery. It looks like there's one screw down here holding it in place. This is a JAS1 as well. Okay, so we'll remove that screw, and let's go ahead and see if we can lift the battery up now. I mean the speaker up. Okay, so here you can see we can lift the speaker up, and the reason I'm doing that is so I can move the battery up and out of the way. Are there hidden screws under there? Oh no, I hope not. Okay, no. It looks like we can lift this. The reason why I'm doing that is because I need to get this battery connector out, and there's not really anywhere to grab it here. So usually when the things are like that, I'm gonna take the screw out from this speaker as well. Okay, also JAS1. And then I'm gonna lift this up and out of the way. I'm gonna leave it plugged in, but I'm gonna just move it over a little bit if I can. Okay. All right, so we got this lifted. Now we can lift the hole back up here, and then I'm gonna unthread or unroute these cables here for the speakers, right? And that's just so I can kind of get underneath. So now you can see we can move the battery outwards more, and then I can get one finger under that cable and one finger over here on top to sandwich it, and then I'm just gonna basically pinch, or actually you can even just use one hand and pinch it, and then you can kind of wiggle and pull. And there we go. So we got the battery disconnected. I'm going to be careful with this because I don't want to have to mess around with those. Okay, here you can see the trackpad. This wire is soldered on here, and it goes over here to this board here, and then that connects to here. And I think the keyboard is also connected to this. There's a little wire here going somewhere underneath the motherboard. I believe that's probably part of the keyboard connection. And yeah, I'm not going to take out more than that because the main thing is the screen. So what I'm trying to do here is I just wanted to lift this out so that I could do a power drain, because if you saw earlier the light kept flashing, that means power was running through it. So now what we're going to do, we're going to open up the laptop slightly, Be careful because the speakers might fall out. And I'm going to press and hold the power button with my thumb down here for at least 15 seconds. This drains any residual power and makes it a lot safer to work on. All right, it's very important. You got to do this. If you don't, there's a good chance you're going to fry the backlight circuit. I don't know if the backlight circuit on this is already broken, but definitely it's having some issue where it's not showing anything on the screen. So I don't know how to remove just this LCD panel. I don't know if I can, but yeah, anyways, that's been more than 15 seconds now. So let's go ahead and take a look at some other components here. We got all these things underneath here, but none of them seem to be removable or replaceable. This is one of the wireless antennas here, and this is the other wireless antenna here. So you got one on each side. Okay, nothing else here really looks removable. Okay. Actually, this USB-C port might be removable. Let me take that one screw out here and see what's going on under there. Okay, so we drained the power now from it. We did have to switch to a JAS 0 to take this piece off. And I kind of just want to see what's under here if it's not stuck. I don't want to... Okay, there's two screws. Don't forget this one down here as well. Okay, so we'll get both these screws out. Okay, and then there we go. And here you can see there's actually a cable running to this I/O board for the SD card slot, as well as the headphone jack that connects there. I think the USB-C port is that its own thing? Oh, this piece actually came out so easy. That's weird. Are these just like being held down like the headphone jack one? No. This one actually pops out. Okay. So, sadly, the USB-C port is part of the motherboard, as you can see here. And then they have this little cable going in there. I'm assuming this is for the fingerprint power button stuff. Okay, and then they have this metal thing here just to ground it, I guess, or maybe to hold the metal plate in place. But sadly, the USB-C port is part of the motherboard, which sucks, but it is what it is. Okay, anyways, we're gonna put this back, just line this back up and click it back down. Okay, make sure both sides click down. All right, I don't know if that would have helped with anything because that was actually loose, but we'll see. I kind of doubt it because that has nothing to do with the screen. It's just for the headphone jack and the SD card slot. Actually, I'm kind of curious why this board for the SD card slot and the headphone jack is so large with so many components on it. Usually those can be much smaller, so I don't know. It could be doing something else. Maybe it's also for the fingerprint reader. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead now and disconnect the screen cable. So I'm going to zoom in here. Not really much else to do. Oh, I don't think I showed the RAM, huh? Let me show you guys the RAM real quick. We'll pop these two to the side, then hold on to the RAM because it will pop up like that, then slide it out. And they upgraded this. This is DDR4 or PC4 3200. All right. So you can put PC4 3200 RAM or DDR4 3200 RAM. All right, then we got the M.2 SSD here. I'm going to use a JAS 1 for this. Okay, so we'll get that out. We're going to just take a look. This lifts up, and then this slides back like that. It actually, they created this weird latch. Oops, sorry, I was out of view. So I took out that one screw with the JAS 1. It pops up at an angle, and then it slides out from under this little gray tab there. And that's interesting. I've never seen that before. And here you can see this is a Samsung. Okay, this was upgraded as well. So this SSD, it has a thermal pad holding it in place, so you can actually peel it off like this. Okay, so this is how the SSD would go. You do actually want to put the SSD in first, and then it drops down like that. If you're wondering what that watery looking stuff is, that's the oils from this thermal pad or whatever. I don't know what they use in there. All right, anyways, we're gonna slide that back into here, and then we're gonna lower this back down. Okay, make sure it lines up right. And then we're going to get this screw back in. Again, this is a JAS 1 screw, so don't mess around and put the wrong thing in there. Okay, we're going to switch now to the JAS 0, and let's go ahead and disconnect the LCD LVDS connector here. 3 screws holding this down, it looks like. Those screws seem to be attached to this metal plate, so they don't actually fall out. Okay, now that we got all 3 unscrewed, we can take that out, and here you can see the connectors here. And these look to be like those pressure fit connectors. This monitor or screen actually looks pretty difficult to replace, or actually maybe not. Anyways, we're gonna get underneath here and I'm gonna pop these up. Okay, just like that. So I doubt it was because these are loose, and I don't think, usually these cables, I don't think we're gonna be able to pull that out from this screen and redo a new one. I think it's usually like soldered to the board or soldered to the screen. So sadly, I'm not going to be able to fix the screen itself. We're going to line this back up, push that back down, make sure it clicks in. If they're lucky, maybe this kind of just popped a little loose, and yeah, I don't know. I don't feel this one clicking like the other one, but when I remove it, I feel it click. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know. That's kind of weird. All right. Well, anyways, pop those connectors back down. We're going to get this metal plate back in place. And sadly, I don't think that fixed it, but we'll see when we try and power it back up. Get those screws back tightened down. Okay, you never know. We might be lucky. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we got all of that screwed back in. Now we got to replace the battery. Or not replace the battery, but plug it back in. Hopefully I didn't leave anything else disconnected. All right, so again, I'm gonna lift this speakers out so I can swing the battery back at least a little bit. It does help because we need a little more room here, okay? So we're gonna get this connector back lined up, and you wanna make sure to line this up straight when you plug this in, all right? Don't go at an angle. And then I like to pinch the 2 pieces together just like this, okay? Make sure it's in all the way. It looks like it's not in all the way. Make sure, there we go. Okay, make sure it goes in all the way, and then we'll get this line back up, get the speaker back in place. Make sure all these little wires down here go back through the routing areas. You don't want them to get smashed by the cover. Okay. All right, looks good. Okay, then we're gonna get the 2 screws back in that we're holding the speakers in. I think those were using the JAS. I think we need a JAS 1 for this, so I'm gonna have to switch the screwdriver. Okay, don't try and tighten it down with the wrong screwdriver, because then you're gonna end up stripping that screw and you're gonna have some problems later. Okay, so we'll get that one and this one. All right, since we're on the JAS 1, we're gonna put the bottom battery screws in first. Okay, make sure the battery is lined up into its little slot there. They have little raised mounts that stick up that guide the battery into the right spot. Okay, 4 screws here. That one, this one. Oh, this screw, yeah, that one's a bit stripped. It's hard to tighten that one. Okay, then this one. Normally it looks like if it didn't have this thermal stuff down here, it actually has a thing that points to where the screws go. This is like M2 by something. I don't know, I can't read that because it got covered. But anyways, let's get this last screw in down here. Okay, we're gonna switch back over to the JAS 0 and put these 4 screws back up here. All right, if you're wondering how to remove like the fan connectors and stuff, it's kind of, you just, again, I use my fingernails at the wings and then wiggle them as I pull them out. And the wireless antennas, if you want to see, you basically pull up by the tails. I have a lot of videos where I remove wireless antennas, so you can watch some of my other videos and you'll be able to figure it out. But anyways, we'll get those 4 screws back in. And because this one has the headphone jack that connects here, up here in this corner, I'm gonna have to put the cover back before I turn it on and test it. Okay. And I think that's pretty much it. There's not really much else to go over here. Again, there is one more M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD slot here, and it looks like it comes with a screw, so that's good. Sometimes they don't come with the screw, and then you have to kind of find a screw to fit in there. All right, anyways, we're gonna line this up, and then we'll get the back in first. Okay, do we have to do this in some weird order? Maybe we have to, uh-oh, I already snapped it down. Okay, maybe we have to do this side first because of all the connectors there. I don't know if they're sticking out, the USB-C ports. Okay, so when I did that, it lined that up. And then you work your way over to the left. And let's see. No. Okay, it gets caught on the, oops, it gets caught on the hinge part there. Anyways, there we go. Got all of that in. Click everything into place, and we'll just put back all the T5 or Torx 5 screws. And that's pretty much it. Usually after disconnecting the battery, because it does also act as the CMOS, BIOS, RTC, real-time clock battery, whatever you want to call it, it will take a while to start back up, because it's basically, yeah, the BIOS was reset, so it's setting it all back up. But yeah, other than that, that's all there is to it. You're welcome to stay as I get all these screws back in. Then we're gonna power it back up and see if we're lucky or if they're gonna need a new screen or something. But yeah. All right, we only got 3 more screws here. Hopefully I don't have a customer outside right now because my other phone is muted while I'm recording. Okay, last one. And there we go. Let's go ahead and flip this over. Okay, open this up. Power button. So far nothing's happening. I might have to plug it in. Sometimes these computers require you to plug them in before they'll power up. Yeah, I don't see anything happening right now. So I'm gonna plug it in. I don't have a DELL charger for this, so we'll see. Hopefully the Apple one works just as well. Okay, it doesn't look like there's a specific one that I need to use to charge it. So plug this in. And power it up. And I see the keyboard lighting up now. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. The keyboard is lighting up. Nothing is coming on the screen. Alright, let me make sure if I unplug this. Okay, the keyboard light's staying on, so we're good. Alright. Can you see the keyboard light? Yeah, you can, kind of. But yeah, nothing is coming on the screen. Let me actually turn this off. You can see the keyboard's lit up, nothing else. And I think, sadly, the screen is probably dead. Yeah, it's flashing orange and white again, still. So, sadly, it looks like this screen is dead. I don't know what else to do. Most likely it'll work to an external monitor just fine, but other than that, that's pretty much it. Anyways, hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. That's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Alright, let's drop this. Bye.